Hey Carson, what's up? How are you doing today? How's it going?
Yo, thank you. I'm doing fine. I'm a little bit tired. I worked on our project until 3 a.m. last night. So
Yes.
yeah, I look like it, but who cares? It's for the music and it's so much fun. And like when I'm in the zone, I completely forget about time. So yeah.
Very nice. That's really nice. That shows that you're into it. So,
Yeah.
and how is it looking?
Really happy. Like for some reason, I thought I would push this track more towards the a radio direction,
Yeah.
but for some reason, I just felt like pushing it a bit more towards the club. And so far, I don't know. Like I'm super curious what you think about it, what you think about the direction that I've been taking. With it, I created a DJ intro and a build-up section and a transition phase, and then I started working on the drops. Basically,
Cool.
I'm aware that there's still quite a lot of work to do. For example, the vocal, I didn't do anything really to it. So all the breaths are in there, some clicky sounds here and there, and the main thing that I want to focus on is getting the bass line right, creating more variation in the bass line, making it sound less static, I guess.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, that's what's going on in my head right now. But and of course, I'm super duper curious because I decided, well, when Louisa and I, when we recorded the vocal bits that we recorded, I
Yeah.
thought of it more as a first verse. But then when I started arranging the song yesterday, I felt, okay, maybe this is I'm really feeling these lines that she's singing. So why not try it out as the hook,
Okay,
basically? And
cool.
that's what I tried to do.
Carson already started
Yes.
recording a vocal himself with a friend of him, and he introduced us briefly last week. And so her name is Luisa, and she's from Germany as well. And so I'm excited to actually see and hear what the guys have done. So yeah, I mean, I would say let's go into the project, share the screen, and show me what you did.
Oh, sorry. Let me see. For me, it also didn't work. I just heard some weird stuff. Let me try this with the Zoom audio device.
I'm hearing weird stuff every day when I listen to my music. Oh my god! Ah, nice.
We're dancing like it's only us. We're strangers. Do you think this might be love? I can show you all the things you're dreaming of. Let me lead you, yeah, to a place so high above. We're dancing like it's only us. We're strangers. Do you think this might be love? I can show you all the things you're dreaming of. Let me lead you, yeah, to a place so high above.
basically that I have so far.
Nice. Yeah, it's cool, man. Took a big leap since last time. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And
do you like the direction that it's
first of all,
taking?
it sounds way more consistent already. Like all the parts and elements, they lead to each other, and the intro is already super cool with the chops. You know, you create that kind of atmosphere and a vibe, and when the vocal comes in, makes totally sense. And then when she starts singing on the drop is also really cool. I think it's definitely the right direction. And I'm not sure about the part between 57, like after she stops singing the piano and stuff. And we might need some interesting element there, because the thing is, right now, everything's kind of like sustained notes, like the bass is sustained, the hi-hats are kind of like long, there's no groove, no hi-hats, no percussion, and then you come up with the piano, with the saxophone, long notes. So and she's also singing kind of like chilled. So I would try to include something which gives the whole track a little bit more of a groove, but it's different things we could do. Just an idea: start the drop without the hi-hats. When she starts singing, just take the bass, use the bass, the kick, and her voice, because it's enough already. And then you start adding the hi-hats maybe after 8 bars, like at 49. And also the hi-hats are pretty cool, but a little bit too flat after like a while. You get used to them and they're not really driving the track. And I would maybe look for some additional drum loops or percussion loops. Could either be bongos or like congas, but doesn't have to be like, but also like more like groovy stuff, or hi-hat loops which add a little bit of groove in the background. Like it could also be some ear candy which goes on the top end, but just to spice up the groove, like make it a little bit groovier. Because you have this bass line which doesn't give a rhythmic structure, it just lays there, which is cool. And but you need to add something which adds a little bit of a contrast and drives the track a little bit more. Especially for the second part of the drop. While she's singing, I would be a little bit careful not to not include too much of it. But you can play around with ideas. And yeah, that's my suggestions or ideas. First thoughts on the drop, and then for the part where she starts singing at 17, the break. I mean, the vocal is super fresh, and you haven't worked on that a lot. I would try to include, it just doesn't sit really in the mix yet. She's a little bit disconnected to the mix, but that's a lot of mixing details, you know, reverbs and delays and EQing. She has a nice tone of her voice. It's kind of like a little bit smoky and grainy already, which is cool. It doesn't sound cheesy at all. And I had the other idea when you are in the breakdown section that you could put in some echoes of her voice, but as vocal chops, you know, high-pitched vocal chops, but because there's gaps between her singing. She said, like, for example, she's like, da 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 da, and then you can, but you could actually use or make chops out of her vocal instead of using samples. I think in the beginning you're using samples, right? That's like not her voice. Is that right?
No, yeah. But those come from the original demo. Basically, here we have the saxophone and these vocal shouts.
Yeah.
I was thinking about taking them out completely, but they add so much vibe to the track.
Absolutely.
That I thought, okay, maybe make it work with her voice and the original vocal shouts, basically.
I mean, if you listen to the track for the first time, let's say, or if you hear it, you don't really realize that this is not her. This could easily be her, because it's her tone of voice. So no problem to not use it. You could try to create a sample with her voice. So then you could at least say to yourself, it's totally yours. It's not taken from any sample library. But using this vocal chop is totally legal. It's totally fine. It doesn't hurt at all, and it just fits. And I would keep it personally, rather than trying to find something which is similar but doesn't give you the vibe, because it really adds a lot of vibe. Yeah.
I think so too. Yeah. And I was trying to preserve as much as I could from the original demo, basically, when it comes to the vibes.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes sense.
And for me personally, I think it's working. If I have the vocal chops, the samples playing while she is singing in the background, that doesn't work. for me, but if it's either her or the vocal chops that I took, then it sounds fine.
Yeah, and I mean, as long they work perfectly. And I would say like never change a running system, you know. And if it doesn't really help you doing anything, so keep those and rather focus on creating some new chops with her vocal, part of that vocal, to connect the gaps in between the breakdown. Maybe we can listen to the breakdown again from bar 17 onwards, please.
Dancing like it's only us. Only a stranger. Do you think this might be love? I can show you all the things you're dreaming of. Let me lead you, yeah, to a place so high above.
I mean, just a suggestion for the vocal for the second breakdown. You could try to add a vocoder on top of it, or let's say you double up her voice with a vocoder-ish sound. You know, could be like, I mean, do you use isotope vocal synth? Do you use that? Do you have that?
I have it, yeah.
Okay, I mean, that can give you pretty decent, cool sounds, like not totally vocoder, but also very modern. And you can fiddle around with that. Maybe it's something you put underneath the vocal to make it different from part one, but it still doesn't really destroy the sound. Instead of like creating high pitch, low pitch, you can also try to do that, but maybe you go for some smoother sound here with trying to add a vocal chord structure underneath the vocal.
Yeah. So okay.
Just an option. Maybe you try it out and you see how you feel, and we can discuss it. And then for the build up from 33 onwards, 33? Yeah. You have the vocal chops in there. It's just the ad-libs, and then you have this this sequence you're taking from the original, right? I'm still thinking this what kind of role does this play in the production, in the song, in the track, or whatever? It's more of a filler right now, right? It's more like a little bit of like.
It's here it builds up slowly. I just use it in the first bit of the drop as well. Because in the beginning I thought I wouldn't use her voice here in the drop, so I thought, okay, it needs the bass, it needs the kick, it needs the clap, and a little bit of melodic elements, but really scaled back basically. So I used it for that. I'm not sure if I need it. Yeah, maybe I can take it out.
I'm not sure if you should take it out. That's why I'm thinking. It kind of makes sense. It kind of adds this. It makes it sound a little bit more emotional, more vibey. It gives it a little bit of depth. So I would actually keep that sound. It looks like it sounds like a mullet sound, right? Like a filter. Can you play it solo? No, it's more a synth sound, yeah.
And then when I open it up, it sounds like this.
Yeah. It sounds actually cooler when it's filtered. But maybe you can try to replay that with a mullet sound, a kalimba, or like one of these, like I would say tropical deep house percussive sounds, like an organic sound.
Yeah, okay, I could try that.
But don't be too obvious. Don't be too a preset. You know, like try or maybe some serum sound which has a little bit of a plucky attack to it, and maybe this could be something for the second part of the drop together with the saxophone. Not sure. So it might work, it might not. It might not add what we really need here. We need something which actually gives you the flow throughout the song when she's not singing.
But for me, I mean, basically also the length of the drop is not set in stone yet. You know, maybe it doesn't even need this second bit, but I thought it would be nice to have a little break from her singing and let the saxophone and the instrument speak a bit, you know, basically. That's what I thought, but
can you do me a favor and play the full drop again from 41 till the end of the drop? Can you already mute the hi-hats in the first 8 bars? And is there a clap?
There is a clap, yeah.
Maybe can you mute the clap for the first 4 bars, only for half of it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Thanks.
The only thing why I didn't do that was because I wanted to have to keep the momentum going, not to slow down the track too much in the build-up. So I even used a filtered version of the beat basically to keep it going.
Yeah, makes sense.
All the things you're dreaming
So
of.
I'm afraid that if I take it out there, that it's gonna sound super empty. But let's see. Do you want me to play it?
Yeah, please. From maybe from 37 onwards. Yeah.
Okay.
We are dancing, dancing like it's only us. We are strangers. Do you think this might be love? I can show you all the things you're dreaming of.
Yeah. That's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like. Do you like it, or do you prefer it?
I think it builds up more, and I don't have a problem going into the drop without the clap and the hi-hats, because it's kind of like strong already, and you hit it with the bass line, you hit it with the vocal, and and this gives way more impact to the bass line if there's nothing on top of it, no hi-hats, which distracts. It's more like we have to work a little bit on the sound of the bass line maybe, and for example, you could in the beginning when she sings, you filter it a little bit. You take off the high end, so you keep the total focus on the voice, and then you filter it up over throughout 8 bars or so. So until 49, you have the filter is open.
So basically, you would like me to start it with the cutoff relatively down.
Yeah. Let's see how it sounds.
Relatively close.
We can try. I mean, not sure. Trial and error.
We are dancing, dancing like it's only us. We are strangers. Do you think this might be love? I can show you all the things you dream.
What do you think?
In the beginning, I had the cutoff a little bit too low. It was very flat there. But that's definitely one thing on my to-do list still, is to automate the cutoff so that it sort of opens up, closes again, opens up a bit more. Yeah, for sure. One thing I would be super interested in, if we have time for that, would be the bass line itself, because right now I just play this super duper basic bass line, and I'm not quite sure, because in the original demo that I showed you, basically, it wasn't playing B, it was playing G. And let me just show you how that sounds. If you like that more, I think it was G. I hope so.
We are dancing, dancing like it's only us. We are
The second one, that's the big
strangers.
one. But did you see the difference?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think the root note is B's, and I liked it, so I thought, okay, maybe it's better than the G, but the G is also quite cool.
We are dancing, dancing like it's only us. We are strangers.
Okay.
Yeah, what do you think? I now that I listen to it like this, I think I prefer the B. What do you say?
So why couldn't we just create an 8-bar phrase with the bass?
Sure.
You start with the B.
Yeah.
Oh, show me the 8 bars. Play them. Can you just play them?
Those are the 8 bars.
Yeah, and I see it already. So go back to the original. To the. You had the B in the beginning for the first note, right?
Yeah, it's a B. Yeah.
Okay. And now play the 8 bars, please.
We are dancing, dancing like it's only us. We are strangers. Do you think this might be love? I can show you all the things you're dreaming of. Let place so high above.
I like both. You know, it depends on your taste. I would go for this one we're having right now. Start with the B, go back down to the G, so you have both notes in there, and maybe just one little tweak on bar 48. You should go up the octave as well. Wee.
Like this, I think it's cool. I like it.
Yeah, I'm already thinking of maybe adding this octave not at 48 but at 46, so it breaks up the second note a bit. And then maybe make it with a slide, you know. And you could also try to make them slide up and down with the legato in the legato mode.
So play around with pitch bend and with legato basically.
Yeah, and as you said before, play around with the filter, because I think that really helps a lot. Gives it a story, you know. And as you said before, going back to 5 minutes, you started a little bit too low with the filter, but if you turn it up a little bit, so you can already hear the character of the sound. So it's not just a sub, it's more like this, like, and then you filter it up and down throughout the 8 bars, 16 bars, and then you already create a lot of life in these things. I was thinking of maybe if you want to do that for the percussions, you could add a kind of a reverse clap, especially right before the claps start. You know, like just one of these, but not the big room thing, more a dry sound, a short reverse clap, which adds a little bit of like grooviness and dynamic to this part. And
I'm writing these things down. So.
All good, cool. That's the homework.
Homework. You know. I have one thing that I would like to talk about before I forget it, regarding the vocal. Do you think, I mean, because Luisa is going to be back in my studio tomorrow evening, so I have the chance to record something more with her, some variations, maybe a bridge, I don't know, some more ad-libs. What do you think? What's best for the track? Does it make sense to just leave this hook as is? Basically, I have a lot of takes from it, so doubles are not a problem. Or do we need more content? Like, what would you say?
I mean, it depends what you want to achieve. If you want to achieve a chill track, I would say get more ad-libs. But I think ad-libs don't really move the track forward. You know, ad-libs don't bring any additional energy. So I would rather go for, maybe she does the same thing with other lyrics, just to have a second version for that for the later part of the track.
Ah, okay.
Or maybe try to create something as a B part or C part, you know, like a middle 8, more lively or where she goes more up with her voice. I don't know how capable she is, or is this her strength, singing in that kind of key, if she can give more energy to a certain part. But I don't know if you need it. It's really trial and error, you know. I can't really tell you what to do exactly.
One more thing that I would like to know. So would you recommend maybe making a club version of this and the radio version? Because I feel like I can take this track really in both directions. Like I could have one radio version that is less driving, a little bit more chilled, and really like has more vocals. It's hookier maybe, I don't know. For the radio with a different structure and one club added. Or just stick to the club edit. Because I feel like, would I be able to listen to this, for example, on 1 Live? Would they play it? Well, they would maybe play it on 1 Live moving, but they would not play it during the day like this, I believe. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking, what's the best thing for the track? Should I maybe make 2 versions, one radio edit and one club?
That's definitely a point. The only thing is, I would not try to achieve both at once, only focus on one, because this is going to be a problem at all. And I'm having these problems with a lot of like people I'm talking to, or when we do productions, we have to focus on one approach. If you want to, let's say, get both at once, you will always struggle. And for example, if you do a club mix or club version, you might struggle to create a proper radio edit from that, because you shorten it and then you say, oh, I want to have more vocals on that, as you just said. So if you're going for more a vocal approach, then I would say do the whole vocal layout, even if it's just like an extended radio edit or whatever. See it rather as an extended of the radio instead of a club mix. Forget about the intro and the outro right now. Focus on the vocal, of the story of the vocal. Because, as you said, if you want to get it played on radio, the vocal has to start in the beginning and has to go throughout until the end. And then you might need a really catchy hook. It could be, for example, a guitar playing a riff. Yeah, because the saxophone is still like it's a vibey thing now. Or you find a saxophone lick which is really a riff, a phrase, a hook, you know. So you have, or a synth part. Or you have to make your mind up what you want to achieve. Do you want to have a radio playable song? Then do this first. Do the radio version and do a club mix afterwards. It's always easy to do a remix or consider a remix, a club mix of a full vocal track. You just take part A and B and get rid of the rest, and you create the club mix. But if you have a club mix, a very chilled out, laid out track with a lot of gaps or places where the song just evolves, and you cut them out, of course you can do that and you get a short edit. But radio versions should be done properly from the beginning, with having in mind this is going to be the radio version, and we write, and that's why I was like, try to write a middle 8 or a C vocal part, so you have it. You have it at hand if you need it. If you don't need it, okay, you're not going to use it for the club mix because it's too much vocal going on. But for the radio, take a proper radio layout. 2.5 minutes. You have 2 verses. You have 2 pre-choruses or bridges, however you want to call them. You have 2 choruses, and you might have a C part, also called the middle 8, and that gives you the full 2.5 minutes. And maybe you need 2 additions for the drops, or like 2 instrumental parts, which give you another 15 to 30 seconds of length. This should be like your structure, and then because that's the basic layout of every radio track. And once you have that, you can spread it out and do extended or whatever, and make one thing longer, shorter, add ad-libs and stuff. But the vocal should get people through the song by itself. You should not need additional stuff. So that's how I would approach a proper radio production. And you have to get to the point immediately in the radio version. You shouldn't be like, okay, it's 15 seconds of a saxophone intro and all the stuff. You can maybe do 4 bars, and otherwise everyone will tell you, no. You have to start. It has to come in like in the first 10 seconds. We have to know what it's about. So this is the approach. And so maybe for now, as we're still working on the vocal, on the structure, on creating the vocal, focus on the vocal, and use this as the basic layout for the production.
I feel like the potential is there, and sometimes, of course, I go through my own phases where I want to create more clubby in-your-face tracks, and then softer ones again. And right now, I guess I'm a bit more in a clubbier phase mentally. So this came out, and I really like it. I think it's a good way to take the track.
Yeah.
But you know what? Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to sit down with Luisa and come up with a proper song structure for the radio. And the good thing is, like, this is always the fallback. So if we or the backup, if we don't feel inspired for whatever reason, then at least we have this. Like, I can build on this.
Absolutely. You know? No, keep this, and develop it into a full song with Luisa, and then let's see next week.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm gonna try to make that happen.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I think you took down a lot of notes, but that's the homework. Get the vocal like more complete, make it a full song structure, work on the details, get the bass line a little bit more in detail, and work a little bit on the details of the percussion and the drums. And yeah, bring it into like that radio structure. That should be, I would say that's the homework for next week, if that's okay for you.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Anyway, hey Carsten, it was nice to talk to you today. I'm looking forward to next week, and then speak soon. Ciao.